Dear students, this is me, Dr. SHIKHA, lecturer in English at Government Girls College, Bara. Uh, I'm today. I'm back with the same poem, "Ode to the West Wind." In my previous video, I have discussed the first three stanzas of the poem, and today we'll talk about the fourth stanza of this poem. In the first three stanzas, Shelley talks about the effect or the impact of the west wind on the earth, in the sky, and in the sea. Now, in this stanza, the tone, there is a shifting of tone in this stanza. Okay, the west wind now becomes a personal force in this stanza. In the first three stanzas, Shelley appeals actually to the west wind to hear to him, okay, to listen to him. And now in this stanza he wants to be a part of the west wind. He requests the west wind to make him a part of its strength or power. If I were a dead leaf thou mightest bear, if I were a swift cloud to fly with thee, a wave to pant beneath thy power and share the impulse of thy strength. If I were a dead leaf. In this stanza, Shelley describes his desires more clearly. He wishes, if I were a dead leaf, if he were a dead leaf, okay, thou mightest bear. So the west wind would carry him away. If I were a swift cloud, he says that if he were a swift cloud, he would fly with the power, with the west wind, with the power of the west wind. He would enjoy the ride in the sky with the west wind. A wave to paint beneath thy power. If he were a wave, he would move swiftly under the water and share the impulse of thy strength, and thus he would share the impulse of thy strength. He would share the speed or the force of the west wind, the speed and force of the strength of the west wind. The poet wishes, okay, the poet actually imagines its power and strength. He wishes to be a dead leaf, a swift cloud, and a wave, so that he would feel, he would experience, okay, the strength of the west wind, just as the west wind carries away the leaf, okay, with its power on the earth. In the first stanza, we saw the effect of the west wind on the earth. In this stanza, the leaves, dead leaves, are driven away by the force of the west wind. So he wants to experience the same kind of force by being the leaf, leaf, okay. And in the second stanza, we saw the force of the west wind in the sky, okay, the commotion and the disturbance created by the west wind in the sky. So he desires to be a cloud, so that he would enjoy the ride, and he would enjoy the ride with the west wind, with the power of the west wind, and a wave, so that he would move swiftly or swim swiftly, fastly, promptly in the water or under the water. Only lays free then thou, O uncontrollable. Actually, the west wind is uncontrollable. Nobody can control the west wind. Actually, nobody can control the wind. It is nobody can control the wind, and it is absolutely free from any restriction. So Shelley also wants, he also desires to be free. He also wants to be absolutely free from the restrictions of life, of society. So he wishes to be like the free, like the west wind, like the wind. Okay. uh, okay. If even I were as in my boyhood, okay, and could be the comrade of thy wandering o'er heaven as then when the outstrip thy sky speed. I actually, he says that if even I were as in my boyhood, he says that when he was in his boyhood, when he was in his childhood, he had a great energy. He was so much energetic, and he had a great strength and energy. Okay, and he had a power, strength, but and probably he could have even outspeed the wind. Okay, he was so energetic, he could surpass the wind, the power of the wind. Outstrip the sky speed, scarce seemed a vision. I would never have striven, and thus with thee in prayer in my sore need. Now in these lines he says that I would never have striven. Okay, these lines show the helplessness of the poet. He says that if he had been in a state in which he was in his boyhood, he would never have prayed, he would never have requested the wind. Okay, now he requests, but now he requests to the wind to help him and to let him share its power and strength. Okay. Oh, lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud. I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed. Now in these lines actually he says why he prays, why he requests, why does he request to the wind to help him. He requests the west wind to help him because now he thinks that because of all the problems and political and personal, whatever that he the problems that he faced in his life, now he thinks that he does not have strength anymore. He is being weakened by the problems and burdens of life, and is no longer swift and proud as he used to be in his childhood. Okay, he had been suffering from the anxieties, from the bitterness and despondency in his life. So he's facing he has fallen on the thorns of life. He's facing many problems and crises in his life, and has taken away all his power and energy. And now he is looking up to the west wind and requesting him to help him. Okay, actually Shelley was against the social and moral conventions of the society of his time. He was always in revolt against these conventions. His spirit or thoughts were in revolt against the social conventions. He suffered heavily in his life and violated customs and old rules. Okay, now he feels that he has been crushed by the burden of these sufferings throughout his life. So now he wants to he wants to experience energy which he has lost just due to the burden or the problems of his life. Now so he requests, he prays, he appeals to the west wind to let him share its power and strength. Okay, a heavy weight of hours has chained and bound one too like thee, tameless and swift and proud. He says that in his childhood, okay, when he was a boy, he was tameless, means he was energetic, swift, okay, and proud. he had proud on himself because he was so energetic. He was as energetic and he as powerful as the west wind itself is. Okay, but now these difficulties and hardships of life have changed the course of his life. Okay, he's being suffered. He has no rest in his life, and the burden of life, okay. So now he wants to share, and now he wants to experience, he wants to enjoy the power of the west wind. Okay, he wants to share the power and strength of the west wind just to enjoy its power. Okay, he wants to live his life, he wants to live his childhood once again. He wants to live his childhood. Okay, so he has fallen on the problems. He has fallen on the thorns of life, means he is facing many problems and crises in his life. So just as and the consequences, he has lost all his powers. Now he requests to the west wind to be his friend, to be his companion, and to share its strength with the poet. Okay, I would like to give you some ideas in Hindi also, because it will be easy for you to understand. So I would like to give some the explanation of these lines in Hindi also, just for your convenience. Okay, इफ़ आई वर अ डेड लीव, एक्चुअली इन जो इस स्टेंजा में जो शैले है वो उससे वेस्ट विंड से प्रे करता है कि वो उसे डेड लीफ या स्विफ्ट क्लाउड और वेव बना दे, ताकि वो उसकी जो शक्ति है उसका वो एहसास कर सके, ताकि अपनी वेस्ट विंड की जो भी शक्ति है उसका वो एहसास कर सके, जो एहसास डेड लीफ ने या मृत पत्ती ने या स्विफ्ट क्लाउड और वेव करती है। ओके, वो उसकी शक्ति को अपने साथ शेयर करना चाहता है। वो ही वॉन्ट्स टू बी द पार्ट ऑफ द वेस्ट विंड, वो एक वेस्ट विंड का एक पार्ट, एक भाग बनना चाहता है, एक अंग बनना चाहता है। ओके, एंड ही वॉन्ट्स टू बी फ्री, और वो फ्री रहना चाहता है। जिस प्रकार वेस्ट विंड बिल्कुल फ्री रहती है, कोई रेस्ट्रिक्शंस उसके ऊपर नहीं होते हैं, तो वो भी उसको उसकी तरह बिल्कुल फ्री रहना चाहता है, ताकि वो अपनी लाइफ को उसको एंजॉय कर सके, उसकी